Robert, how do you think this plan is going to be received by the left, in particular, let's say members of Congress like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or maybe Rashida Tlaib?
I think it's absolutely going to be received by the Democratic Party and its base and progressives with rounds of applause, quite frankly. I think we've done a lot of work in mischaracterizing.
Robert, you think AOC is going to give applause to this?
Absolutely. Because
why do you think that? I'm curious.
The reason is because we've done so much time demonizing and mischaracterizing what people mean by defund the police, we've lost the original intention. The idea is to have smarter policing, to have better policing, to have policing that doesn't end with people with knees on their necks or them ending up in body bags after police encounters. It's not about getting rid of police or having some anarchist lawless society. And so what this does is spend millions of dollars on combating domestic terrorists, combating white supremacy, combating the people at Charlottesville, the people who stormed the Capitol, putting money into counter-terrorism activities, and going into smarter policing. No one has ever said they want to have no police. It's about having smarter and more effective policing and investing in the parts of society that really help to ameliorate crime. So I think all parts of the left and all parts of the right, quite frankly, should come together onto this as something we can all agree on.
So I just want to, and I just, as you were talking, I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm a woman, so I'm trying to multitask here, because I know I've heard this over and over again from Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and she has been quoted as saying, defund the police means just that, defund the police. That's a direct quote from a statement that she's made. So what am I missing here, Robert?
Well, I don't think her quotes are taken out of context are going to be the intellectual leadership of the Democratic Party. But
she was asked for clarification. But she was asked for clarification. Literally, defunding police means defunding police. That is a statement. It does not mean budget tricks or funny math. It does not mean moving school police officers from the NYPD budget to the Department of Education's budget. She's saying herself, those are her words.
Yes, he's talking about specifically local policing there in the city of New York. This is about the national policing and the national efforts of fighting counterterrorism nationwide. I think if you ask her directly,
but it talks about increasing. Yes. Correct, but I'm going to clarify. This is according to their release. It's talking about increasing funding for law enforcement at all levels. That includes local levels.
Correct. At all levels, including local levels, but the entirety of this bill, we're talking about the entirety of this bill and everything contained within it, I think is going to be acceptable to the people on the left and the right because it calls for smarter policing activities, smarter and more effective ways of addressing community policing, smarter and more effective ways of fighting counterterrorism. I don't think that anyone's going to stand up and beat their chest and be against something along these lines because it's exactly what many progressives and many of the people who are marching and protesting for the last year have actually been asking for, to have a smarter police force instead of equipping them with tanks and military equipment, finding better ways to police our communities to make communities more safe.
Okay, Tim, I want your response to this. What do you think? How do you think AOC is going to react? Again, I'm reading her statement.
Yeah, so the reality is that right now what Robert is saying is actually something that's a largely conservative position. And so I actually would appreciate if we're all on the same page saying, hey, we do think that there are many situations where police can do a better job. We do think that's true. However, we also know that many people in the media take situations where there was justified police behavior and activity, and they misportray it to demonize the police. And that's where people like AOC have come out and said, no, we don't want police to have more funding. In fact, maybe we even need less police. We've already seen city councils. We've seen mayors. We've seen actual Democrat leaders calling not just for defunding the police, but for eliminating police in many situations. And so the idea that defund the police doesn't actually mean defund the police, it means something else. Well, then that means you picked the worst slogan ever to choose words that you didn't actually mean, that means something totally different than what you're saying. You're saying that doesn't make any sense at all. Defund the police, actually, AOC was right. It means defund the police. And so if now we're changing the story, well, I'm glad we're changing the story because the reality is there are situations where police can do a better job, and there's many officers already doing a great job. There's some that need better training. We agree with that. However, the way that you get a better police force often is with more money to get them better training so they are better prepared to handle those situations and actually, at the end of the day, maybe have less people in body bags. However, again, so often the police have been demonized in situations where there was justified shootings, justified scenarios. Not to say everyone was right, because certainly there's times police officers have been wrong, just like the reality of all humanity. Nobody's right all the time. There's certainly bad police officers in the mix. However, defund the police clearly means removing money from police officers, shrinking down police forces. And because of this movement, you're actually seeing police officers leave forces in droves across the nation. And now you're seeing an increase in violent crime and an increase in petty crimes throughout the nation because they have less police. Why? Because they've been defunding the police, because that's what defund the police actually means. So again, to pretend like it's something other than defund the police is now just being intellectually dishonest.